Hello, I'm the D-Unit and welcome to Fantasy Premier League, the D-Unit's journey. Today, we're going to be talking about the most important thing in Fantasy Premier League, and that is the differentials. Game week differentials, based purely on the fixtures, that's what I'll be looking at today. Look, some people after 7 game weeks and the international break are in struggle town. They are mid-table, they're 5 million ranked, or might even be worse if you're some of my friends and sitting closer towards a 10 mil. But if you're like me and you're sitting in the top 100,000 teams worldwide at the moment, let's hope it continues. Touch wood, touch wood, touch wood. You've got to have good differentials and people that are low owned. And I'm talking about the players that are under 10%. I'm not talking about your Haalands, your Mbeumo's, your Palmers, your Sakas. Unlucky if you brought in Saka because it looks like he just did a hamstring. So it's bad if you're in a wild card, but look, hopefully it's not too bad for him. He was on my hit list, but might not be for the foreseeable future if it turns out to be a significant injury like the Odegaard one. I hate international breaks. My God, they're so troublesome, especially with injuries and stuff like that. So look, without further ado, let's get into differentials this week. That's what you're here for, right? So let's get into it. So the top transfers in this game week. No surprise at the top, Mbeumo, but as I said, we're not going to be focusing on the people that have huge ownership. I'm talking about the people that are under 10% owned because that's where you can make some points up and hopefully climb your rank and in quick fashion as well. So look, not going to be focusing on him, but just wanted to point out that these are the top 5 players transferred in at the moment: Mbeumo, Saka, McNeil, Johnson, and Palmer. Now there's 2 differentials in there. Can you spot the 2? They're not Mbeumo, it's not Saka, it's definitely not Palmer, it's McNeil and Johnson. They are 2 of the players I'm going to be focusing on because their ownership is relatively low. So let's have a look. All the ones I want to pick are in the most transferred in, ironically. But that's because people are probably cottoning on. So as you can see there, Mbeumo, 26.8% ownership. That is not a differential. Saka, 34.9%. And if we go down and look at Palmer, almost 50%. Almost 1 in 2 people actually own him now. They are not the differentials. But look at McNeil, look at Johnson, look at Justin. There's something they've got all in common there. 2 of them are in my team. So let's have a look. So McNeil. Why is McNeil such a popular option? I bought him in when he was 5.5 and he's already up to 5.7 now. His form is 7.8 and he's averaging 5.9 points per game, which is really good considering the price you're paying for him. Now, it was skewed a little bit by that Crystal Palace game there. You can see that he got 15 points and he hasn't done much either side of that. But if we have a look at his underlying numbers, his underlying numbers are amazing. So in that Leicester game, he actually had an XG of 0.47, like goal involvement. So that's saying that he underperformed. In the Aston Villa game, obviously had 0.87. In the Crystal Palace game, he only actually had 0.46, so he did super well there. But as you can see there, when Everton are scoring goals, he's normally involved. So they obviously didn't score against Tottenham or Brighton, which is why he got no points. But outside of that, in that Tottenham game, he probably should have scored, though, or got an assist, because, yeah, he had an XG of 0.66. So look, his underlying stats are amazing, and look at the fixture run coming up. So they've got Ipswich, Fulham, Southampton. All fantastic fixtures for Everton. In fact, it keeps going. They've got West Ham and then Brentford after that. So if there is a differential, he is owned by a fair bit now. Quite a few people have cottoned on. 8.6% of the competition, though. That's really good. You should be looking at that particular thing. And Everton do have an unbelievably good run of fixtures. Now, the next one, right below, Brennan Johnson. Now, Tottenham are one of them weird teams, but his XG this season has been phenomenal. And he has scored 29 points in the last 3 weeks. No, that's wrong. I can't count. 25. My bad. So his underlying stats are super good. So as you can see there, expected goals involvement, 0.7, 1.12, 0.55, 0.34, 0.43. He's been pretty good this season. I mean, he probably should have scored even more points than he has. He didn't score any of the first real 4 weeks. But the last 3 weeks, he's been getting in the box and he's been getting on the end of those far cross tap-ins. And that's what you want as a winger. Now, he's actually got more touches in the box than anyone else except Erling Haaland. I'm pretty sure. I might have just pulled that out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct. So, look, that's something to keep in mind. Brennan Johnson, actually, the last thing I forgot to say, the Tottenham fixtures aren't as good as the Everton ones coming up, but they're not too bad. Up until Man City in game week 12, they've got West Ham, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa's a bit of a tricky game, but it's at home. And then they've got Ipswich. So, look, the fixtures aren't as good for Tottenham, which is why I haven't actually bought in any Tottenham players yet. And I actually got rid of mine. I got rid of Pedro Porro for the next bloke I'm going to talk about. And that's James Justin. Now, he's gone up in price since I bought him. I bought him at the very start, and I have been rolling the dice a little bit with my transfers this season, but it's been paying off for me so far. I've managed to catch so many price rises, and my team value is going through the roof, which is fantastic. Now, as you can see there, the last 2 game weeks have been unbelievably good, and these against, well, Arsenal in particularly, a team you wouldn't expect it, but he got 12 points there, and he got 10 against Bournemouth. And as you can see, the Ipswich run, which is why FaZe is also proving to be quite a popular option at 4 million, and he's also in my team. And this week, I will be starting 2 Leicester defence because they have Southampton. And look, the fixtures don't lie. Southampton, even though it's away, are a fixture to target. And I'm expecting James Justin to get me a return here. At least an attacking return. I wouldn't be surprised if they kept Southampton out as well. I mean, they have scored the odd goal the last couple of weeks, but they're not a team to be feared in terms of their attacking output. Between them and Man United, they can barely hit a barn door, so you wouldn't be too worried about that. And look, Leicester's run is unbelievably good. So they've got Southampton, Nottingham Forest, Ipswich, Man United, Chelsea, Brentford, West Ham, Brighton, and it takes until game week 16 for their fixture run to turn. So look, hop on board the Leicester assets, 100%. Bring them in. I would even look at Vardy and the bloke that Marviol, however you say his name, the bloke that plays in midfield. He's got good attacking returns. He's also cheap. But this guy, he's only owned by 2.5% of the comp, and I'm one of that 2.5%. So I'm hoping that he's going to help me make some even more points over the next game week. Lots of people still have Pedro Porro, and Pedro Porro is almost owned by a quarter of the competition, and he just hasn't delivered. So I'm hoping the trade works out. The next one down, Liam Delap. Now, he is owned by, slightly more people. He's owned by 4.8% of the competition. But again, he's a great option. Now, his form again has been rather sporadic. He scored against Fulham back in game week 3, and his XG is not the best in terms of when he hasn't scored or delivered. Like even against West Ham when he scored, he only had an XG of 0.12. So that's not a lot. And in the Fulham game, it was only 0.21. And in the Aston Villa game where he scored twice, it was only 0.57. But he seems to be making the most of his chances when they do come along. And you can't lie with, as I said, Ipswich Town's fixtures are also quite nice over the next 3 weeks. So Everton at home, Brentford away, and Leicester at home. Fantastic fixtures. And here's another really good option that can help enable your team. And he's not owned by many people. So if he pops off, you're going to be making lots of rank. Now, ignore Kovacic. I know he's in this list. No good. Canade is actually a very good downgrade option if you have a Trent and you're trying to fit in a third premium midfielder. But the fact that Saka potentially is injured might mean you keep Trent and you don't look at that trade moving forward. Raul, not a bad option. He's also very cheap, 5.6, and his underlying stats have been superb. Like the last 4 weeks, he is not blanked in the last 4 weeks. He's got a lot of points, 18, 24, 29 points in the last 4 weeks. So for 5.6 mil, you can't go too far wrong with that. I'm not a fan of the Fulham fixtures per se. I think Villa at home is not an easy game, and Everton away I don't think is a good game either. I think Everton are going to be a lot more solid over the next few weeks. And then they've obviously got Brentford, Palace and Wolves, which are good 3 run, but then it really doesn't get good for Fulham after that. So do keep that in mind that you're really playing it. And the forwards, how many goals are Fulham going to score? I'm not 100% sure. Chris Wood, who's currently in my team, he's done me well. He's owned up to 11.4% though, and there's no surprise that that's also the case. Now, the other player I really want to talk about, and he is super low owned, and he makes this team tick. Now, I'm just going to quickly, there he is. So there was another player I wanted to talk about, but this one's just below. So James Maddison. Now, Brendan Johnson's amazing, but James Maddison's owned by even fewer people. Oh no, he's actually about the same. It's about 5.2%. Brendan Johnson might be up to 6. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I looked at it. I just don't know. But look, when Tottenham play well, James Maddison is scoring points. So look at the Arsenal loss, did nothing. Newcastle loss, did nothing. Everton win, he got 6 points. Leicester draw, 5 points. Brentford home win, 12 points. Didn't do anything against Man United, the only blip. And obviously he scored 10 points against Brighton. That's unbelievably good returns. And his XG and expected goal involvements in those wins is really good. So as you can see, against Leicester, it was 1, 0.79 against Everton, 2 against Brentford, 0.53 against Man United. In fact, I don't know how he did so well against Brighton, but he did well. Now, as I said, the Tottenham fixtures, as I said, West Ham at home this week, you would think he'd deliver. And if Tottenham are going to score goals, Maddison's going to be involved. He is a great differential. If there's a player that I could bring in and not take a -4 this week, it would be James Maddison. I just really like him as a differential pick. Not many people have him, and he's at a price that I can actually fit into my team quite easily. I could trade out a Smith Rowe for him, no problems at all. I've got 2.5 sitting in the bank. So look, and Tottenham's run is not too bad. Other than that Man City game, as you can see there, it's a pretty good run until they play Liverpool in game week 17. So he's a really good differential. But look, there's quite a few that are involved. Dallo, the United fence, I'll talk on that. United have kept 4 clean sheets out of 7 games. Anana is actually the best, highest scoring goalkeeper in the league at the moment. I actually can't believe that's a thing. United seem to defend well. They just can't score goals, but I just can't trust them. Eric Ten Hag's still at the club. So don't go there. I'm not recommending you bring in any of their players. I did that a few weeks ago when they scored that 7 against Barnsley, and it has been horrible. We have not scored since. Jordan Pickford, though, he is a goalkeeper I want to talk about. So this is slightly skewed. He's done nothing all season except in the last game week against Newcastle. But this coincides with Jared Braithwaite's return to the Everton lineup, and you can't ignore the fixtures that Everton have got. As we talked about previously, Ipswich away, Fulham at home, Southampton away. Those 3 games, you could almost foresee that he'll get bonus points in terms of saves, and there's a good chance that they could keep clean sheets. I actually think he's a super good option. If you're one of those people and you're trying to save some money, you've got like a rail like I do, and he's just really not cutting it. If you needed that extra money, I would not hesitate in bringing in Jordan Pickford. He's not owned by a lot of the competition, 8.4%. And if Everton do to turn around, and Sean Dyche does normally play really good defensive football, he is someone that I think you should be targeting for a little point of difference. A lot of people have like the Fleckens and all this. Shout out to those people bringing in Luis Diaz. 34.6% of the competition, probably not happy to have him anymore. And this one is for next week. But this bloke is my bloke, and he is on my hit list for game week 9. Out Nori. Now, he was god-awful early in the season, particularly against Chelsea, when he was absolutely garbage. But he just attacks. And when Wolves are playing well, he's going to be involved. He obviously got 9 points against Liverpool, 9 points against Brentford. His XG, is expected goal involvement, is actually really good in both of those games for a defender. And you would expect after this week, Wolves' fixture run finally turns, and it gets good. So as you can see there, Brighton, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, West Ham, Ipswich, Leicester, Man United. Till game week 19, Wolves' fixture run is amazing. And you should also be looking at Strand, Larson and Cunha. I'm not going to focus on them because they're not in my line of thinking at the moment. I'm quite happy with my forward line as it is. But Out Nori next week, he's in the hit list. He's a great differential. Now, if you're after a midfield one as well and you don't want to go Saka and you don't want to go Havertz, you could do wrong. You couldn't go too far wrong with going for Martinelli. Now, Martinelli's only at 7 mil. I think he has had one price rise. Now, for this, it's a 1 week play, this one, because as you can see there, he's got a tough run after this. But the last 3 game weeks, he's got 5, 13 and 6. His XG is 0.94 and 0.45 the last 2 weeks. And he has been getting involved in the XG, expected goals and stuff. So look, don't rule Martinelli out. He is low owned, and he is also a great way into the Arsenal attack, particularly about Odegaard. I can't see him getting rested after the international break. And hopefully, he hits the ground running. But I actually think he's a really good shout. And in game week 12, he will be on my targets for when I'm using my wild card. So look, those are the people. I wouldn't bother going into the second list. There's not too many people here that I like the look of. Kelleher, though, could be an option with Alisson out. But again, I just don't really like the Liverpool fixtures. I don't think they're going to keep too many clean sheets in the next 4 weeks. So that's why I wouldn't bother burning a trade there. Now, a lot of people have been jumping on the Phil Foden bandwagon. I said last week, I just need to see some trust in him before he can go. But look, Man City's fixtures the next 4 weeks are great. But Pep Roulette is a real thing. And I don't think Phil Foden's back yet in his good books or whatever it is. But look, That's what I'd say to that. And one other one I'll shout out here, Nathan Collins. Now, he got 10 points against Wolves, but Brentford haven't been keeping clean sheets. But when actually, that's a lie. No, he has been keeping clean sheets. He's actually got 2 assists. So he's got an assist against Southampton, and he also got an assist against Crystal Palace. So he has been getting attacking returns, which is interesting. So if they ever keep a clean sheet, he's going to be onto something. But again, you would expect Brentford's run for them to actually start keeping some clean sheets here. They've got 2 promoted teams in the next 6 weeks. So that should equal, hopefully, some clean sheets. So he's a good option, and he's only 1.7% ownership. And you would expect his price also to go up. So again, that's something to keep in mind as well. Pedro Porro, as I said there, got him out. He's owned by 29.1% of the com. I actually can't believe that. And Michael Keane, he's also a good shout there. Everton defence, I think they're going to tighten up. Him and Jared Braithwaite will hopefully make that a lot better. And Diego Jota is now back under 10% ownership. Now, he's also a really good shout. If you haven't got a Liverpool player, it does seem that Arne Slot prefers to play him over Darwin Núñez, whereas Cody Gakpo and Luis Diaz, I think they're pretty similar, but he definitely prefers Jota over Darwin Núñez, whatever you want to call him. So I'd definitely give him a shout as well. And then Onana, the best goalkeeper in the comp at the moment, 4 clean sheets, most points, 6.2%. Now, Man United's fixture run is actually pretty good, but that means nothing. That actually means nothing. They can't score. The pressure at that club at the moment is like a powder keg just waiting for a fuse to be lit and it all to explode. But you can't deny that Onana's run, there should be another 3 clean sheets at least in that run over the next 6 weeks. So if you're looking for a real good goalkeeper that's going to keep clean sheets, you couldn't go too far wrong with him. He's already had a penalty save this year as well. So look, those are my differentials for the game week. Use them, no use them. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's someone else I haven't covered today that you think's a great differential. Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already and you're new around here, please like the video. I am a small channel. I'm starting to get started. And if you really want some different stuff, please like the subscribe button as well. That'd be certainly very helpful for me. And that's me just plugging myself. That's been Fantasy Premier League, the D-Unit's journey. Me and Alan will be back doing a show hopefully tomorrow, and I'll post it up on Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. And we're going to talk about our seasons, and then we're going to look ahead to the end of the international break. Thanks for joining me. That's the D-Unit.